However, later that night, something unexpected happened.
Dude, it sucks because I really don't want to do that 4 hours of cardio.
So I tried Sung Jin Woo's training program from solo leveling for 7 days to see how it changed my physique. In the show, his daily workout quest turned him into an absolute unit and slightly into an asshole, so I wanted to see how it impacts me as well. I'm doing this because, to be honest, I haven't been eating the best lately with some changes in my life. I'm getting married, I moved to a new place, I'm getting a new job, and I also did a challenge where I purposely put on 1 pound of fat to make a point, so I figured by attempting this challenge it'd be a fun way to try to get this weight off. But if it doesn't work, I'll be wasting a whole week from the gym, and I'm also opening myself up for some extra injuries, and I'll explain that more in a second. So Sung Jin Woo's workout that he has to do every single day as part of the show is 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, 100 squats, and a 10-kilometer run, which is 6.2 miles for us Americans. So for this 7-day challenge, I'm imposing a couple of rules to follow. Rule number 1, obviously, do the daily workout. Number 2, I'm allowing myself to have 1 rest day since Sung Jin Woo gets insta-heals at the end of each of his workouts, which I don't have, and I don't want to get injured, and I don't want these workouts to accumulate into junk reps. So I'm giving myself 1 rest day in between the 7 workouts, so really this is like an 8-day challenge. Rule number 3, just eat normally. I can skew how this challenge will impact my physique by tracking how much I eat, whether I eat in a deficit or a surplus. So I'm just gonna focus on getting a bunch of protein and following my hunger cues, since Sung Jin Woo doesn't really track his macros as far as I'm concerned. Number 4, a little bit of reward after each workout. So if you didn't know, Sung Jin Woo gets a little reward every time he completes his daily workout quest, so I'll be doing the same. And number 5, if I miss a workout that isn't my rest day, I'll have to do 4 hours of cardio as a punishment, just like he did. So here's what happened. Let's start day number 1. So when looking at Sung's workout, I do have some injury concerns. So first of all, my left shoulder used to have this tweak, so whenever I did a push-up or some type of benching motion, it was always super uncomfortable, and it's healed up now, but doing 100 push-ups a day after day after day, I'm really worried that I'm gonna re-aggravate it. I also have a history of running injuries, which is why I don't really run anymore. So jumping into a 6.2 mile run is kind of intimidating without really any training, since I really don't want to sustain an injury that's gonna cut this challenge short. Now I don't know a lot about running, but I do know that my 5-year-old Ultra Boosts probably aren't cutting it anymore and are probably responsible for a couple of the injuries that I've had when trying to run, so it's probably time for a new pair. So I courageously went out to the wild and bravely talked to the nice running man, and he told me I should get a pair of these. So these are the Brooks Ghost Max, and not only do they look like a dad shoe, they're a lot lighter and they have a lot more cushion than my Ultra Boost did. The nice running man also told me I slightly point my toes outwards when I run, so these have an extra arch support that help give a nice extra cushion there. That can only be a good thing, right? So when I asked him how long I should break these in before actually starting running, he said about a week, so I followed his advice for about the rest of the day, and I just wore them around the house because I want to get this challenge going. So I guess technically, day 1 starts tomorrow. So now it's officially the first day of the solo leveling challenge, and I got up right away in the morning, got some coffee and hydration, and then got started. So when doing this workout, I tried to stick with my normal lifting philosophy. Instead of thinking about doing these as one giant set of 100 reps, I'm trying to do 100 sets of a single rep to really make sure that each rep is as efficient as possible. So for push-ups, I really try to emphasize stretching my chest to the floor for a better pec stretch, which will help for more muscle gains. And I also imagine trying to push my hands together and slide them apart during the reps to really help stimulate the pecs better. By doing them this way, I was only able to get 25 straight and about 10 to 15 per set after, working my way up to 100. And by the end of this, my chest was dead. For sit-ups, I forgot to hook my feet underneath something for more stability to make sure my abs are actually doing the work, but once I did, I was reminded by all the ab work that I haven't been doing lately. I try my best to keep good form by trying to imagine peeling one vertebrae off and placing one vertebrae down at a time. However, halfway through, my abs were exhausted, and I was just repping them out. My abs also started cramping, which besides the pain, was actually kind of cool. And finally, for the squats, I put on my chucks and my VersaLifts, which help elevate my heel a little bit so I can get more down ass to grass for better leg growth stimulation. And I really only had to stop for my low back and just to catch my breath. Then I set out on the run in my new dad joggers. So the run started out surprisingly smooth. All of the past injuries that I used to have usually take a little while to warm up, but they started feeling good right away. I kept going until about the halfway mark until I started feeling something that I've never felt before.
So I'm about halfway through. See, it started raining a bit. Fortunately, I can start feeling a blister develop on the bottom of my foot. So about halfway, I'm just gonna walk it out the rest of the way. It's kind of a bummer, but we'll treat it and we'll see how it is tomorrow.
On the bottom of my feet, on my arches, I started to feel this burning sensation, and I realized I was starting to develop some blisters. Remember how these new shoes were built? So these have an extra arch support that helped give a nice extra cushion there. That can only be a good thing, right? Well, it turns out that extra arch support was rubbing up against my arches that they weren't used to and started creating a lot of friction and started blistering. I was also super concentrated on the shoes and not my socks, and I was wearing these old, loose, crappy socks, which also did not help the issue. So to prevent these blisters from turning into something that's gonna completely stop the challenge, I turned around, I limped home, being eaten by bugs, to get off my feet and start resting up. But first, the reward. So I headed over to Aldi, which is the grocery store I have around here, and ended up grabbing myself a steak. So I seasoned it up, threw it on the cast iron with some french fries, and as someone who's been eating chicken and vegetables for a really long time, this was an absolute blessing. So day 2, and I was surprisingly sore, especially in my abs. I'm used to working out with weights usually in around the 6 to 15 rep range, so repping out 100 reps of each exercise really did take its toll. So I did some warm up, stretching, foam rolling, and got back into it. Even though I was more sore and stiff than the day before, overall I got the same amount of reps. For the push-ups, I could get about 25 before I needed to rest, and overall it just went really smoothly. Even the cat wanted to join in, for at least a little bit. And so since my blisters were feeling surprisingly good, I decided to try the run again, but this time in better socks. So starting slow, I got about a quarter of the way through feeling pretty good before I started really feeling the blisters again, but since I was so far in and they were manageable, I decided to keep going.
So I made it halfway through this run, about 3.1 miles, and my blisters aren't feeling great. It's manageable, but I'm just gonna give myself a rest here. I'm gonna take it nice and slow on the way back. I'm really not sure what I'm gonna do about it in the future, but we'll figure it out. Good news though, the shoes really seem like they're working. I don't have any knee, ankle, underfoot pain at all, which is really nice to hear. So honestly, blisters are probably the best case scenario for any kind of injury right now.
So again, I took a grandpa's pace on the way home and really enjoyed the scenery. I got home, showered up, and rested.
All right, so I just showered after that second run, and now the fatigue's really starting to sit in. I was feeling really good after these runs and during them. Wasn't really feeling too tired at all, but now it's all starting to hit. My legs are getting kind of achy. I kind of just want to sit on the couch. So this is something that I don't recommend people do right away, jumping into 6.2 miles of running, but right, for the content, for the challenge, right?
But while I still had some energy remaining, I decided to grab my second reward. So the reward I chose unites the hearts of men and children and brings peace to the entire world. Pokemon cards.
Ooh, that one looks interesting. Never seen that before. Ooh, nice. Looks a little hollow. So, nothing incredible, but pretty cool. And we still got 7 packs to go.
So now it's day 3, and after 10.5 hours of sleep, I was still feeling exhausted. I still had a little bit more juice, however, so I decided to work out another day. However, deciding to attempt the run yesterday was really starting to show its ugly head. And it turns out, running on those blisters and in new shoes was a dumb idea. So blisters got way worse, way bigger, and the muscle on the outside of my foot right here is now really tendy because I think I changed my gait to run around the blisters, which put a lot more extra stress on it, and now it's just painful. However, I'm not gonna give up, right? If you get injured, it's not an excuse to give up, it's just gotta find a way to work around it. And I think I found a really good way, a good alternative to running. So once I get these on, I'll show you. Echoey. So I totally forgot that our new place has a fitness center, kind of, and it has a bike that I can use instead of running. But first, before we get onto that, I gotta do my 100 squats, push-ups, and sit-ups, and then I'll explain to you exactly what I'm gonna be doing on that bike instead of running. So doing the workouts in this fitness center was really nice because it was much more air conditioning than my apartment, but I could start really feeling my joints really starting to take a hit. At the end of the push-ups and the squats, I could really feel my knees and elbows really taking a hammering and getting really sore and achy. And as the workout went on, the reps just got worse and worse and started turning into junk reps. Yeah, tomorrow's definitely gonna be the rest day. However, no matter how tired and achy I was, I couldn't just skip cardio, so I hopped onto the bike instead of running. Alright, so now that I got all of those reps done, now it's time for the cardio, and we're gonna be doing a bike instead, because I really can't put pressure on my feet anymore. So, when I was doing the running, I was very comfortably pacing 10 miles a minute. 10 minutes a mile.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to bike an hour and 15 just to be safe, just converting from 6.2 miles for every 10 minutes. Brings me to about an hour and 12 minutes, but I'm just going to do 15 just in case. As I pedaled, I could still feel my blisters. They were uncomfortable, but they didn't hurt, and I was finally able to finish Mob Psycho, which was really nice. I could still feel the fatigue building up, and I really started to get more irritable and snippy throughout the day. And me being one of the most chill people that I know, it was a clear indicator that I needed to take a rest and take it easy for a day. I guess now I can really understand why Sung Jin Woo kind of turned into an asshole, because if I had to keep doing this day after day, I would for sure get really upset. So I'm definitely taking that rest day today. Today's day number 4. And I'm just super achy, I'm super tired. The fatigue's really kicking in. I'm not even sleeping as well as I was before. I can also feel like my attitude and my temper is becoming a lot more short. So I think a sign of that I really need a break. So I can really feel that these reps would just be junk volume, and I'll just be setting myself up for injury and more fatigue later on if I continue going on today, which kind of is the opposite of this whole entire challenge, which is to get gains and just be healthier. So I'm just gonna stay on my ass the entire day. So I spent this day off of my feet, just resting, coming up with video ideas, editing, playing a bunch of RuneScape, and I also made sure to keep up on my protein intake and went to bed early to recover the best as possible for the next 4 workouts, which unknowingly were about to get much harder. So after doing a full day of nothing yesterday, time for workout number 4. So we're on day technically 5, and I feel so much better. That deep fatigue completely gone, except for I had a really bad night's sleep, but that's whatever. Joint pain gone, muscles feel all healed up, so I'm ready to kill this. All the workouts went super smoothly. I actually got 35 push-ups, 10 more than before, and overall I just killed this workout. However, later that night, something unexpected happened. Dude. So for those who don't know, I do plasma on the side for a little bit of extra money, and I just got a hematoma, and I used to get them fairly often. It's not a big deal, but this time I actually felt my vein like pop. It's a little bit worrying, it's kind of painful, and it's gonna make continuing doing the push-ups kind of painful. So I got this little guide about how to treat them. We're gonna see how it goes, but man, this sucks. I really don't want to do that 4 hours of cardio, but we'll do our best, see what happens, and yeah. Without not being able to do much except for ice my arm and hold it overhead to drain any of the fluid, I went to bed and prayed it would be feeling better in the morning. So it's the next morning, and you can see that I don't really have any bruising where my vein popped. So I don't know if you can tell, it's a little bit swollen right here. It's a little bit more stiff and kind of achy, which is a lot better than I thought it was gonna be since my vein literally popped. But I'm still kind of apprehensive about trying these push-ups. I'm gonna give it a go, nice and steady. But if I can't do them, I guess I'm doing a lot of cardio today, so let's see how it goes. Turns out, my arm was totally fine. It was a little stiff at first, but as I kept going, it started to loosen up, and I was able to complete the push-ups without a hitch. The sit-ups went really well, and the squats went well too, although I did notice that my knees were starting to ache again, so I made a mental note of that, and I know with a good night of sleep, that would fix itself. So this is going to be the hardest workout so far. Not because I'm injured, not because I'm sore, because of this. So I'm literally on 1 hour of sleep right now because I was trying to comfort and take care of that kitten that we just found and taken care of, which I had to sleep with, which is fine, but I'm so tired. Normally on days like this where I don't get a lot of sleep, I would just rest because the workout's not gonna be good. Why put extra strain and stress on your joints and body for basically a not stimulating workout? But I have to get this workout done now instead of sleep, so I get this done in time. So let's get it. This is gonna suck. Needless to say, this workout was a challenge. If you didn't know, sleep is where your body heals your muscles, causes them to become stronger, recovers your central nervous system, and just overall prepares you for the next workout. And since I really didn't sleep, it was almost like just skipping a rest day. I did start waking up a little bit as the workout went on, but when I came to the cardio, I didn't get as much cardiovascularly winded, but it did start feeling like I was pedaling through mud. However, once I finished, I didn't have time to sleep. We had to drive 3 hours up north to get Wasabi vaccinated by my fiance's sister, who's a vet, and we stayed up there overnight, and I tried to get the best sleep that I possibly could,
exhausted, trying to sleep with wasabi. It was better than the night before, but still wasn't great since wasabi is still a nighttime navigator. So I woke up after another poor nights of sleep, and we had to drive the same 3 hours back down. With the effects of these back-to-back workouts with only one rest day and 2 bad nights of sleep, the impacts were really starting to take their toll. My willpower was really starting to fail, and the prospect of skipping this final workout and just doing the 4 hours of cardio the next day was starting to be really tempting. However, with it literally being the last day, I couldn't stop there. I got into my apartment's fitness center at 8 p.m. and I slowly grinded out this workout. It was slow, it was miserable, everything hurt, my butt was surprisingly sore from the bike, but at 10 p.m. I completed the final seconds of the cardio and I was done. I finally finished the 7-day solo leveling challenge, and as a final reward for completing the entire week without any skips, I went straight to bed and tried to catch up on some sleep. So what were my results? Did I lose the weight that I wanted? Did I actually drop any weight even though I didn't track any macros? So I started the challenge at 199.3 pounds, and at the end I dropped down to 195.8, a 3.5 pound drop. In the before and after, you can see my abs and my legs visually leaned out. Strength-wise, my push-ups increased drastically. On the first day, I needed to stop about 8 times in order to complete the full 100, but by the end, I only needed to stop about 5, and I was almost able to get 50 by the very end. And after a couple additional days of recovery, my core and my legs were feeling as strong as ever. I'm really happy with the physical changes this challenge brought out, but I'm also more proud of all the unforeseen struggles that I had to push through mentally all the way to the end. Through the blisters, the aching joints, the bursted veins, the sleepless night, I was able to push through the end and finally, hopefully, break out of the